Good morning, students. I hope you are all doing good. Let us see what we are going to discuss in today's class. Good morning, students. In previous class, we have completed gaseous state in our chapter States of Matter. Already previously I told that three states of matter are there. Those are solid state, gaseous state and liquid state. Till now we have completed gaseous state. Now we are going to see this liquid state, and we will discuss solid state in class 12th, chapter 1. Okay, let us continue with this one. Intermolecular forces are stronger in liquid state than in gaseous state. In gaseous state, the particles are very far away from each other. Because of that, the intermolecular forces are very less. But when compared to gas, if you take liquid, the particles are somewhat nearer each other and the intermolecular forces are stronger than gaseous state. Molecules in liquids are so close that there is very little empty space between them, and under normal conditions, liquids are denser than gases. Density is equal to mass by volume. Density is inversely proportional to volume. When the particles are going to occupy full container, their volume is high. When the volume is high, density is less. Because we know density formula, density is equal to mass by volume. Okay, when the volume of the gas is high, its density is low. But coming to liquid, they are somewhat nearer by each other and their volume is less when compared to gaseous state. When volume is getting less, density will be higher. So liquids have higher density than gases. Next, molecules of liquids are held together by attractive intermolecular forces. Molecules of liquids are held together by attractive intermolecular forces. Liquids have definite volume because molecules do not separate from each other. Suppose if you take some amount of water in a container, let us consider it is 5 ml. Same 5 ml of water, if you transfer into another container also, it will be 5 ml only. Same 5 ml, again it is transferred into another container also, it is again 5 ml only. Is it correct? So volume is fixed. Volume of the liquids will be fixed. That means they have definite volume but no definite shape. When water is changed from one container to another container, according to shape of the container, shape of the water also will be changed. So they have no definite shape but have definite volume. However, molecules of liquids can move past one another freely. Therefore, liquids can flow, can be poured and can assume the shape of the container in which these are stored. In the following sections, we will look into some of the physical properties of the liquid such as vapor pressure, surface tension and viscosity. We are going to discuss the physical properties of the liquids such as vapor pressure, surface tension and viscosity. These are the things we are going to study now. Is it okay? Now coming to this vapor pressure. If an evacuated container is partially filled with a liquid, a portion of liquid evaporates to fill the remaining volume of the container with vapor. Initially, the liquid evaporates and pressure exerted by vapors on the walls of the container increases. After some time, it becomes constant. An equilibrium is established between liquid phase and vapor phase. Vapor pressure at this stage is known as equilibrium pressure or saturated vapor pressure. Since process of vaporization is temperature dependent, the temperature must be mentioned while reporting the vapor pressure of a liquid. Okay, this explanation easily we can give. Now let us consider one example and we will see the explanation. Before that, what are the properties we are going to discuss in this liquid state chapter? Those properties are vapor pressure, second one surface tension and viscosity. Okay, now let us see how we are going to explain this vapor pressure by taking one example. Observe carefully, ma. This is the empty beaker I have taken at the initial time. Into this I have poured some amount of water. At the time I am going to pour the water at time t is equal to 0. Total water is present in the form of liquid state only. No gas particles of water will be present. Gas particles of air will be present. That air is present, okay. But I am telling that liquid, that is water I have taken here, that water in gas state, it will not be present initially because fully it is filled with liquid only. Now while time is going on, the surface molecules present in water, they will absorb the energy from surroundings. The surface of the molecule, this surface is going to absorb the surroundings, energy from surroundings, and some of the molecules will be going into gas state. Okay, then slowly while time is going on, while these gaseous particles are getting increased, their pressure also increases, because they are going to apply pressure on liquid surface. Automatically initially at time t is equal to 0, pressure of the gas particles will be 0.1 atmosphere. At time t is equal to 50 seconds, pressure P is equal to 0.2 atmospheres. At time t is equal to 100 seconds, pressure P is equal to 0.3 atmospheres. After time t is equal to 100 seconds, even if you observe at 200 seconds also, pressure is not going to be changed. Even at time t is equal to 300 seconds also, pressure is not going to be changed. What is the meaning of this one? Already this type of explanation I have seen, I have explained. After some time, see, at time t is equal to 100 seconds, what is the pressure? Increased up to 0.3 atmospheres. Increased up to 0.3 atmospheres. At time t is equal to 200 seconds, pressure is not at all changed. Even at time t 300 seconds also, pressure is not at all changed. What is the meaning of this pressure is not at all changed? Meaning the gaseous particles and liquid particles are said to be in equilibrium. The gaseous particles and liquid particles are said to be in equilibrium. That equilibrium is called dynamic equilibrium, because at that equilibrium condition, some particles of gas, let us consider 2 particles of gas, at the time they are going to hit the walls of the container, they are going to release energy and they will be converted to liquid state. 2 particles of gas, they are converted to liquid state. At the same time, from other place, 2 particles of liquid, they will get energy from surroundings and they will change to gas state. I would like to explain that how many particles are converted from gas state to liquid state, that many particles are converted from liquid state to gas state. At that state, that condition is called dynamic equilibrium condition. Till that, pressure increases only. After that, number of particles, they are converted to liquid state and liquid to gas state, both are same, na? That's why gas particles number will not be affected. Even though forward process and backward process are going on, pressure is not going to be affected, because both forward process and backward process are happening at same rate. That is, rate of evaporation, conversion of liquid to gas is called evaporation, is equal to rate of condensation. Rate of evaporation is equal to rate of condensation. That's why after 100 seconds, pressure is not going to be affected. At that time, at the state of this dynamic equilibrium, these particles are going to apply some pressure on the liquid surface. That pressure is called vapor pressure of this liquid. That pressure is called vapor pressure of this liquid. That is example here for explanation I gave 0.3 atmospheres, it is fixed value na? That 0.3 atmospheres is the vapor pressure of water. For example, for understanding purpose I told, because after reaching the equilibrium condition, this is the pressure, it will be maintained constant. That pressure which is maintained constant till temperature is not changed. This is particularly we have to say at a particular temperature. Let us consider this is at room temperature. Is it okay? So at this room temperature, after some time, 100 seconds, 300, 400, 500 also, whatever the time is going on after 100 seconds, pressure is not going to be affected because number of particles they are converting from gaseous state to liquid state is equal to number of particles they are converting from liquid state to gaseous state. That is, rate of evaporation is equal to rate of condensation. The type of equilibrium is called dynamic equilibrium. At this dynamic equilibrium, the pressure applied by these gas particles on the surface of the liquid is called vapor pressure of that liquid. The gas particles, water particles in gaseous state, they are going to apply some pressure on the liquid surface. That pressure is called vapor pressure of the liquid. Suppose if you take water, so vapor pressure of water at 25 degrees centigrade, room temperature is 25 degrees centigrade, is equal to 0.3 atmospheres in this explanation. For example only I told, please don't take it as this fixed value. For your understanding purpose, after some time pressure is remained at 0.3 atmospheres only, that's why this is taken as vapor pressure of water at 25 degrees centigrade. If you change the temperature, again equilibrium will be established at different temperature, at different pressure. Suppose at 30 degrees centigrade, equilibrium is established at 0.5 atmosphere, might be. Is it okay, ma? At 50 degrees centigrade, 0.7 atmosphere, equilibrium is established at 0.7 atmosphere, meaning vapor pressure of water at 25 degrees centigrade is 0.3 atmosphere. Vapor pressure of water at 30 degrees centigrade is equal to 0.5 atmosphere. Vapor pressure of water at 50 degrees centigrade is equal to 0.7 atmosphere. When temperature increases, vapor pressure of the water also increases. Not only water, any liquid, vapor pressure of water is directly proportional to temperature. Is it clear, ma? This is the definition of vapor pressure. Vapor pressure of any liquid is nothing but the pressure applied by the gaseous particles of that component on the liquid surface of that component, at the state of dynamic equilibrium, is called vapor pressure or saturated vapor pressure. That only they explained here. See, vapor pressure at this stage is known as, initially the liquid evaporates and pressure exerted by vapors on the walls of the container increases. That only I told. 0.1 will become 0.2. 0.2 will become 0.3 initially. After some time, that pressure will be remaining constant. After some time, it becomes constant. That is the point here. An equilibrium is established between liquid phase and vapor phase. Vapor pressure at this stage is known as equilibrium vapor pressure or saturated vapor pressure. Since process of vaporization is temperature dependent, the temperature must be mentioned while reporting the vapor pressure of a liquid. When a liquid is heated in an open vessel, the liquid vaporizes from the surface. At the temperature at which vapor pressure of the liquid becomes equal to the external pressure, vaporization can occur throughout the bulk of the liquid and vapors expand freely into the surroundings. The condition of free vaporization throughout the liquid is called boiling. Now, if you continue the same explanation, let us see. I told at 25 degrees centigrade 0.3 atmosphere, at 30 degrees centigrade 0.5 atmosphere. Surrounding pressure is, atmospheric pressure is 1 atm. Surrounding atmospheric pressure is 1 atm. At 25 degrees centigrade, vapor pressure of water is 0.3 atmosphere. Before that, air pressure is 1 atmosphere outside. Surroundings atmosphere pressure is 1 atmosphere. Okay. Now, vapor pressure of water at 30 degrees centigrade is 0.5 atmosphere. Vapor pressure of water at 50 degrees centigrade is 0.7. Like that, while we are increasing the temperature, vapor pressure of water also increases, and finally at 100 degrees centigrade, vapor pressure of water will become 1 atmosphere. At 100 degrees centigrade, vapor pressure of water will become 100 degrees centigrade. The temperature at which vapor pressure of the liquid is equal to atmospheric pressure is called boiling point. The temperature at which vapor pressure of liquid is equal to atmospheric pressure is called boiling point, and at that stage water condition is called boiling, and at that stage water condition is called boiling. Boiling is happened at particular temperature only. Boiling is happened at particular temperature only. Initially at 25 degrees centigrade some gaseous molecules are present. At 30 degrees centigrade some gaseous molecules are present. Like that it is happening na. That process is called evaporation. Conversion of liquid to gas at any temperature is called evaporation. Particularly at particular temperature, that vapor pressure is getting equal to atmospheric pressure. That condition is called boiling. Boiling is not happened at any temperature. Is it okay? Now initially at 25 degrees centigrade some liquid molecules of water is converted to gaseous particles. Even at 30 degrees centigrade also it is happening. The total process are called evaporation only. That's why here I wrote rate of evaporation, and the conversion of gaseous state to liquid state is called condensation. So I wrote rate of evaporation is equal to rate of condensation. That state is called equilibrium condition. So at a particular temperature equilibrium condition is happened. At that time vapor pressure we are going to calculate. That is going to be like this: 25 degrees centigrade 0.3 atmosphere, 30 degrees centigrade 0.5 atmospheres. Like that slowly vapor pressure of the liquid is going to be increased when temperature is going to be increased. Finally at particular temperature vapor pressure of that liquid is going to be equal to atmospheric pressure. That temperature is called boiling point. Very important remember carefully. The temperature is called boiling point, and that condition of liquid at that boiling point is called boiling. That means every particle present in the liquid state is ready to be going into gaseous state at the condition of boiling. At the condition of boiling, every particle present in liquid state has such capacity to be going into gaseous state. But at the time of evaporation, only surface molecules have such capacity to be going into gaseous state. At the time of evaporation, only surface molecules have such capacity to be going into gaseous state. But at the time of boiling, every particle present in the liquid has such capacity to be going into gaseous state. That's why at this boiling point, both gaseous state and the liquid state are present in equilibrium. Okay, even atmospheric pressure is equal to 1 atm. This is about the explanation of boiling point. Initially pressure is low because number of particles in gaseous state is low. So automatically when time is going on, pressure increases, and finally it will reach one particular value at a particular temperature. So pressure of liquid at 25 degrees centigrade. Here water I took liquid as at 25 degrees centigrade is 0.3. Like that, if you increase the temperature, that pressure value also increases, and finally it will attain that atmospheric pressure at particular temperature. The temperature is called boiling point, and that condition is called boiling. At the condition of boiling, every particle of liquid has such capacity to be going into gas state. But at the time of evaporation, only surface molecules have such capacity to be going into gas state. Okay ma? This is about boiling point. Observe carefully and note down the notes neatly, all of you. Very important points these are all. I hope you are clear ma? See, till now we have seen the boiling point definition. Observe here, the temperature at which vapor pressure of liquid is equal to the external pressure is called boiling temperature. At that pressure, vapor pressure of some common liquids at various temperatures is given in figure 5.12. At 1 atmosphere pressure, boiling temperature is called normal boiling point. If pressure is 1 bar, then the boiling point is called standard boiling point. That is the difference between normal boiling point and standard boiling point. At pressure has two different units here we considered 1 atmosphere and 1 bar. Both are different. 1 atmosphere is equal to 1.013 bar. Okay. At 1 atmosphere pressure, boiling temperature is called, that means boiling point is called normal boiling point. If pressure is 1 bar outside pressure, then the boiling point is called standard boiling point of the liquid. Standard boiling point of the liquid is slightly lower than the normal boiling point because 1 bar pressure is slightly lower than 1 atmosphere. 1 bar pressure is slightly lower than 1 atmosphere. What is the relation between atmosphere and bar? 1 atmosphere is equal to 1.013 bar. 1 bar is equal to 0.986 atmosphere. This is the relation between atmosphere and bar. Okay, now coming to this, at high altitudes atmospheric pressure is low, therefore liquids at high altitudes boil at lower temperature. Till now I have said the definition at sea level. If you go to higher altitudes, atmospheric pressure is low. That's why I told the temperature at which, see, the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid is equal to atmospheric pressure. I didn't say 1 atmosphere, it is equal to atmospheric pressure. Meaning, when we go to higher altitudes, the atmospheric pressure is getting low. That's why according to that, boiling point also will be affected. At higher altitudes, boiling point of water is less than 100 degrees centigrade. Because outside atmospheric pressure is low, so at less temperature itself, it will reach that vapor pressure. At high altitudes, atmospheric pressure is low, therefore liquids at high altitudes boil at low temperatures in comparison to that at sea level. Since water boils at low temperature on hills, the pressure cooker is used for cooking food. Since water boils at low temperature on hills, we use the pressure cooker used for cooking food. In hospitals, surgical instruments are sterilized in autoclaves in which boiling point of water is increased by increasing the pressure above the atmospheric pressure by using a weight covering the vent. These are the applications of this boiling point atmospheric pressure. Boiling does not occur when liquid is heated in a closed vessel. Boiling does not occur when liquid is heated in a closed vessel. What is the meaning of this one? In a closed vessel, if you heat the liquid, boiling does not occur. On heating continuously, vapor pressure increases. Okay, in closed vessel, continuously keep on, vapor pressure is going to be increased. At first, a clear boundary is visible between liquid and vapor phase because the liquid is more dense than vapor. As the temperature increases more and more, molecules go to vapor phase and density of vapors also rises because more number of molecules are entered into the gaseous phase. So density of vapors also rises. At the same time, liquid becomes less dense. It expands because molecules move apart. When density of liquid and vapors becomes the same, the clear boundary between liquid and vapors disappears. The meaning of this point is, previously correctly when liquid and gaseous state are both are separated, densities are also separated. Slowly in a closed vessel we are going to heat continuously a liquid, so the molecules present in the liquid state, they are going to be going into gaseous state continuously. Then gaseous state density is going to be increased. Finally we will get one condition that density of gas is getting equal to density of liquid. Automatically when density of gas is increased, density of liquid is going to be decreased, correct or not? And finally it expands because molecules move apart. When density of liquid and vapors become the same, the clear boundary between liquid and vapors disappears. This temperature is called critical temperature, about which we have already discussed in section 5.9. About this one already we have seen in the states of matter, that gaseous state. In gaseous state already we have discussed the critical temperature concept. Okay, the temperature is called, this temperature is called critical temperature. Once again, when density of liquid and vapors becomes the same, the clear boundary between liquid and vapors disappears. This temperature is called critical temperature. The temperature at which above that critical temperature liquefaction is not possible. Below that critical temperature only liquefaction is possible. That is called critical temperature. That condition we will get here in a closed vessel. Okay ma, this is about vapor pressure and boiling point. Now they have given one graph. Let us observe that graph also. Simple only. Diethyl ether, carbon tetrachloride, ethyl alcohol and water. They have taken 4 liquids. At 273 Kelvin, that means 0 degree centigrade, we have taken on y-axis vapor pressure, on x-axis temperature. What is the temperature of water? Here 0 degree centigrade, that means 273 Kelvin. At that condition, what is the pressure? 0 for water. Slowly when temperature is increased, its vapor pressure also increases, and finally it will attain atmospheric pressure 760 mm. 760 mm. Already we have converted the units and we have seen the units of pressure. Remember carefully. Okay, 760 mm. See, vapor pressure in mm of Hg. In units mm of Hg this is. So it is going to be equal to 760 mm of Hg at 373 Kelvin. That is called boiling point of water. Like that, ethyl alcohol boiling point is 351.3 Kelvin. Carbon tetrachloride is going to attain that boiling point at 349.7 Kelvin. Diethyl ether 308 Kelvin. By taking these liquids we have seen, observe, boiling point of water is 373 Kelvin. Boiling point of ethyl alcohol C2H5OH 351.3 Kelvin. Boiling point of CCl4 carbon tetrachloride, it is 349.7 Kelvin. Boiling point of diethyl ether C2H5OC2H5 diethyl ether, that is 308 Kelvin. Like that, 4 boiling points of liquids we have seen. Now in water, hydrogen bond is present. That hydrogen bond also, 4 hydrogen bonds are present for every molecule of water. So very strong intermolecular forces are present. That's why it has high boiling point. When intermolecular forces are strong, boiling point is also high. Next, C2H5OH also will form hydrogen bond, but it will form 2 hydrogen bonds only. That's why its boiling point is slightly lower than water. CCl4 is completely non-polar in nature. But Cl bond is polar in nature. That's why dipole forces will be there. Dipole forces are there. Because of the dipole forces, these dipole forces are weaker than hydrogen bonds. That's why it is containing lower boiling point when compared to alcohol. Also, diethyl ether also containing dipole forces. but these dipole forces are weaker than the dipole forces present in CCl4. That's why its boiling point is 308 Kelvin. So according to intermolecular forces, we can say that boiling point values also. If intermolecular forces are strong, the boiling point is high. If the intermolecular forces are weak, the boiling point is low. Okay, ma? From here onwards, simply we will go through the remaining properties, surface tension and viscosity. More than this surface tension and viscosity you will study in physics, ma. That's why simply we will go through here. It is well known fact that liquids assume the shape of the container. Regarding surface tension we are going to discuss now. It is well known fact that liquids assume the shape of the container. Why is it then small drops of mercury form spherical bed instead of spreading on the surface? Why do particles of soil at the bottom of river remain separated but they stick together when taken out? Or otherwise, for example, I am telling here, all of you know about paintbrush. Paintbrush, when it is dipped in water, the bristles are getting separated. Like this, the bristles will become in water. If you observe that one, easily you can understand. Now, at the time the brush is going to be removed from water, these bristles automatically they will come closer and it will be separated. It will be removed as like this. Bristles are together. Why? That is because of surface tension. See, why do particles of soil at the bottom of river remain separated but they stick together when taken out? Why does a liquid rise in a thin capillary as soon as the capillary touches the surface of the liquid? All these phenomena are caused due to the characteristic property of liquids called surface tension. Okay, the surface tension can explain why mosquitoes are able to walk on the surface of the water. Lighter mosquitoes, they can walk on the surface of the water. That is also like because of surface tension, we can say. All these phenomena are caused due to the characteristic property of liquids called surface tension. A molecule in the bulk of liquid experiences equal intermolecular forces from all sides. Like this example, see. The particle which is present in the bulk means inside the liquid, it will experience intermolecular forces from equal directions, means from all the directions equally. Interior molecule attracted in all directions. Equal intermolecular forces from all sides. The molecule therefore does not experience any net force, but for the molecule on the surface of liquid, this one, net attractive force is towards the interior of the liquid, because outside it is not surrounded by any particle. So this particle is attracted by the downside only, means the particles which are present inside the liquid, they are going to attract this particle due to the molecules below it, since there are no molecules above it. Okay, liquids tend to minimize their surface area. The molecules on the surface experience a net downward force and have more energy than the molecules in the bulk, which do not experience any net force. These molecules which are present in the bulk, they will not experience any net force, but the molecules which are present on the surface, they will experience net force. Therefore, liquids tend to have minimum number of molecules at their surface. If surface of the liquid is increased by pulling a molecule from the bulk, attractive forces will have to be overcome. This will require expendation of energy. That energy required to increase the surface area of the liquid by 1 unit is defined as surface energy. Because of this unbalanced force, okay, above we have no molecules, so this particle is attracted by the molecules which are present inside the bulk only. So because of that unbalanced forces, this molecule wants to increase its energy. The energy required to increase the surface area, it requires energy. The energy required to increase the surface area of the liquid by 1 unit is defined as surface energy. Okay, ma? Its dimensions are joule per meter square. Energy required per unit area. Area means meter square, energy means joule per meter square. Surface tension is defined as the force acting per unit length perpendicular to the line drawn on the surface of the liquid. It is denoted by, it is denoted by Greek letter gamma. Till now we have discussed regarding surface energy only. Now what about surface tension? Surface tension is defined as the force acting per unit length perpendicular to the line on the surface of liquid. On the surface of liquid, on the surface of the liquid, if you draw one perpendicular line on the surface of the liquid, if you draw one perpendicular line on this unit length, force acted, how much force is going to be acted is called surface tension. Surface tension is defined as the force acting per unit length perpendicular to the line drawn on the surface of liquid. It is denoted by Greek letter gamma. It has dimensions of kg per just 1 second second square, and in SI unit it is expressed as Newton per meter. Okay, it is expressed as Newton per meter. The lowest energy state of the liquid will be when surface area is minimum. Spherical shape satisfies this condition. That is why mercury drops are spherical in shape. Generally, out of all the different conditions, spherical shape has minimum area. That's why these mercury droplets, if you keep it on ground floor, it will get the shapes of spherical shape, because spherical shape is less area, containing less area. Okay, satisfies this condition. That is why mercury drops are spherical in shape. This is the reason that sharp glass edges are heated for making them smooth. On heating, the glass melts and the surface of the liquid tends to take the rounded shape at the edges, which makes the edges smooth. This is called fire polishing of glass. Okay, not only that one, maximum if you take water droplets also, water droplets should contain spherical shape only, but when they are coming from the sky, they should contain actually spherical shape only, but because of the drifted forces, air forces, it is getting like droplet this shape. Slightly it is getting oval shape, slightly, because of air forces only. Normally water is containing this shape because of surface tension, spherical shape only, water droplet. It is surface tension which gives stretching property to the surface of a liquid. On flat surface, droplets are slightly flattened by the effect of gravity. If you observe the water droplet on a flat surface, it will not be spherical, slightly it will get drifted because of gravity. Because of force downwards, slightly the molecule is getting slightly oval shape. That is because of gravity. But in the gravity free environments, drops are perfectly spherical. So if you have no outside force, okay, or gravity less area, then in that condition, water droplets, if you observe, they are in spherical shape only. The magnitude of surface tension of a liquid depends on the attractive forces between the molecules. When the attractive forces are large, the surface tension is large. Increase in temperature increases the kinetic energy of the molecules, and effectiveness of intermolecular attraction decreases. When kinetic energy is increased, effectiveness of intermolecular attractions are also decreased, so surface tension decreases as the temperature is raised. When intermolecular forces are decreased, surface tension also is going to be decreased. That's why when temperature is increased, automatically surface tension is getting decreased. Both are inversely proportional. Okay, that is about surface tension. This is small explanation only, because this is not the major in chemistry. These are all physical properties. That's why we will discuss in physics only, majorly. Next, viscosity. It is one of the characteristic properties of liquids. Actually, if you pour liquid on the surface, after flowing up to some extent, it will be stopped. After flowing up to some extent, it will be stopped, because on the surface, if you imagine this liquid, this is surface, this is liquid. as layers, different layers. If you imagine that below layer is there na, that below layer is in contact with that floor, it is opposed by one force like friction force, so it is going to be stopped. That below layer is going to stop next layer, because next layer is in contact with that below layer na, so it will be stopped. Next this layer is going to stop next layer, like that every particle, every layer present on the liquid is going to be stopped because of this viscosity. The opposite force present between this liquid and that floor is called viscosity. Observe here, it is one of the characteristic properties of liquids. Viscosity is a measure of resistance to flow which arises due to the internal friction between layers of fluid as they slip past one another while liquid flows. So if you imagine one liquid has different layers, this is happening. Between one layer and another layer, some opposition is happened, opposite forces happen. That is like resistance to flow. Okay, that one will be developed from floor. From there onwards, every layer is getting that opposite force, and that flow of liquid is going to be stopped while liquid flows. Strong intermolecular forces between molecules hold them together and resist movement of layers past one another. That's why honey cannot move freely, but water can move freely, because in honey the forces of attraction will be very strong, so it will be stopped. The flow of honey is stopped easily when compared to water. Okay, when a liquid flows over a fixed surface, the layer of molecules in the immediate contact of surface is stationary. They are opposed by the ground floor. The velocity of upper layers increases as the distance of layers from the fixed layer increases. This type of flow, in which there is a regular gradation of velocity in passing from one layer to the next, is called laminar flow. If we choose any layer in the flowing liquid, the layer above it accelerates its flow and the layer below this retards its flow. Meaning, if you think two layers are like this, three layers below layer wants to stop the flow of above layer. Okay, but above layer it wants to accelerate the flow of below layer, but below layer is stopping the flow of above layer. That's why there is a stop, there is a resistance developed between these two, and movement will be stopped by that resistance. If we choose any layer in the flowing liquid, the layer above it accelerates its flow and the layer below this retards, means opposite, means it will decrease the force, decrease the flow, retards its flow. If the velocity of the layer at a distance dz is changed by a value du, then velocity gradient is given by the amount du by dz. Velocity gradient is given by the amount du by dz. A force is required to maintain the flow of layers. This force is proportional to the area of contact of layers. When area of contact of layers is high, that force is also high and velocity gradient also high. That is, F is directly proportional to A. Force is directly proportional to area. Force is directly proportional to du by dz. That means velocity gradient. Then by combining these two, force is directly proportional to A into du by dz. This implies F is equal to one constant eta into A into du by dz. Eta is proportionality constant and it is called coefficient of viscosity. Eta is equal to coefficient of viscosity. By observing this directly proportionality constant, we have said that eta is called coefficient of viscosity. Viscosity coefficient is the force when velocity gradient is unity. See, eta is equal to force divided by du by dz into area. When this is equal to 1 and area is also equal to 1, eta is getting equal to force, meaning SI unit, viscosity coefficient is the force when velocity gradient is unity and the area of contact is also unit area. If both are 1, then eta is equal to force. Thus eta is measure of viscosity. SI unit of viscosity coefficient is 1 Newton per second. 1 Newton per second square meter, because area is also there na. Okay, so which is equal to Pascal second, which is equal to Pascal second. 1 Newton per second meter square is equal to Pascal second. Both are same only. In CJ system, the unit of coefficient of viscosity is Poise, named after great scientist Jean-Louis Poiseuille. So, in CJ's unit of eta is Poise. Okay, and the conversion is 1 Poise equal to 1 gram per centimeter per second, which is equal to 10 power minus 1 kg per meter per second. Greater the viscosity, the more slowly the liquid flows. Hydrogen bonding and van der Waals force are strong enough to cause high viscosity. Glass is an extremely viscous liquid. It is so viscous that many of its properties resemble solids. That means very high viscous liquid. Please don't think that glass is a solid, particularly. It is a super cool liquid actually. Many of its properties resemble solids. However, property of flow of glass can be experienced by measuring the thickness of window panes of old buildings. These become thicker at the bottom than at the top, because when they are going to be exposed to sunlight, above glass is going to be melted and they will reach the bottom. That's why bottom is getting thickened when compared to at the bottom than at the top. Viscosity of liquids decreases as the temperature rises, because at high temperature molecules have high kinetic energy and can overcome the intermolecular forces to slip past one another between the layers. Here, if they are able to be resisted highly, then viscosity is high. If the temperature is increased, they can move freely and automatically the viscosity is going to be decreased. Okay ma? This is about viscosity. So in today's class we have seen liquid state, 3 physical properties. These are all physical properties already I told. Vapor pressure, but vapor pressure is highly useful. Already we have discussed in gas state also. Vapor pressure, surface tension and viscosity. Okay, this is about states of matter. I hope you are clear very well. Any sort of doubts you can ask me, no problem, I will clarify. This is about today's class. Thank you all, have a nice day.